Hey everybody, it's Eric and Jim from the Mature Minded Gamers. Today we're looking at the Skull and Bones 1.3 patch. This is the first big patch that's released for this game. We're going to highlight some of the changes. There's some big changes in this patch, and some that I'm super excited for, some that I'm not so excited for. Me and Jim are going to take a look at this, review which ones that we like. Let's get to it. Raging Tides, now in full swing. It's time to bring some additional improvements to the game. So with the 1.3 patch, they're bringing a host of much requested quality of life improvements and fixes. This is going to they also address a ton of bugs at the end. We'll kind of scroll through them. We're not going to cover all those, but they have definitely been listening to the community. A lot of these changes, I'm very active on the Discord. A lot of these changes have been brought up over and over and talked about on the Discord, and I'm really happy to see that they're listening to the community and making some of these changes that are definitely needed. So first off, they're going to extend Season 1. It's going to be a 13-week season now instead of a 12-week. So normal season is going to be 12 weeks. They're going to extend it a week. So you're going to have lots of time to keep building more of the in-game stuff. That's more of your manufactories and doing the seasonal rewards. They're going to turn on voice and text chat. Jim, we've talked about this over and over. Voice and text both are needed in this game for in-game stuff, because there's large bosses that you can't just do as a squad of one or two. You need the server's help. And so we've been teaming up with people at random, but I mean, this is going to be a big change for us, right?
Yeah, I agree. And it's mostly, because we got cross-platforms pretty heavy in this game. And if we have in-game chat and the ability to communicate during some of these larger world events, it would help a lot.
Yeah, I mean, we've been teaming up with randos, and, honestly, people have been very friendly, and they've been pretty good just adding them to a group and then targeting something. But just being able to put text in there, because they're turning on not only voice and group chat, but also world text. So you're going to be able to be like, hey, can anyone help me do this quest? And you're going to actually get some help, which is going to be nice.
Right. There's also going to be group text as well.
Yeah, which is, definitely going to be needed. All right, the next big change I'm not so excited about personally, but open world PvP. So right now how the game sets, there's events that will trigger, and you can opt into the event to participate in PvP, which is nice. It works well, so if you want to do it, you can, but you're not forced into anything. So I'm not against this change. It's just not something I'm super excited for personally. But Jim just had a great experience with PvP today, so I feel like this may be something that we may try a few times at least. But they're going to make it so you can turn PvP on. You can flag yourself on or off for it. And it will also group you together with other people who have the flag turned on. So your servers that you join are going to be more likely to be PvP-centric. Jim, what's your thoughts on this one?
I don't know about how this is going to play out, but some of the most fun that I've had with the game was today. I had a battle with a guy one level above me in a hostile takeover, and it was a lot of fun, man. My adrenaline was pumped. So this could be fun. We'll see what they do with it.
Yeah, and that's been my experience too when I have did PvP. Most of it's been good. I've had a couple times where people were exploiting the system and warping around and they blew me up. That's just part of the experience. Like, I knew it was possible. It's not like it was a surprise to me. But I also don't do that myself because I feel like it's cheating. So, Anyways, I'm excited for the change. I don't care so much about it right now, but maybe later on I will.
Yeah, I might. We'll see. I'm not sure about how this is going to be implemented, but I do enjoy some of the PvP elements in the game. It was really fun, and the guy I was playing against, it was a straight-up fair fight, and it was just a lot of fun.
Right. And as you guys can see in the video here, I'm scrolling through the different effects of how it affects you when you're flagged for PvP and when you're not. You can see they really thought this out. They took time, and they thought, how can we not make it so if someone has a friend who's flagged and they're not flagged for PvP, that they can't help them, and they've done a good job here of sorting this out. So I do think this is going to be well implemented. All right, so next up, game updates, combat. This is one that touches me because I used rockets and the aiming was terrible with them, and that's the first improvement. Improve the visual clarity of the rocket aiming reticle. That cannot come soon enough. That thing is hard to aim. It's hard to see. I'm excited to see that change. Next up, we're just going to go through these. These are all combat related, so they're pretty important. They're going to reduce the duration of torn cells on the Brigantine. The Bullhorn perk is going to go from 80 to 40%. That's quite a bit of a nerf to the torn cells for the Brigantine. With that said, I don't think many people use that effect very much. Maybe they were. I kind of feel like this is kind of a weird balance right there, but I mean, we both run Brigantines, Jim. Do you ever focus on torn cells?
No.
Me either. And I don't know anybody else who really does, and there's not much chat about it on the Discord. So I don't know. Maybe they see some people really exploiting it, and that's why they decided to nerf it. But they're also going to increase the duration of torn cells for players to 10 seconds. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's what they're doing. They're lowering the percentage because they're increasing the time to kind of balance it out a little bit. The gear score. So they actually did a little bit of this in the previous patch. They put out a smaller patch, and they made it easier to get your ships to higher rank. And they're doing that again here. They're kind of revamping it, and they're making changes so you can reach ship rank 12, which I think is the highest you can go right now. So I'm not going to go through all these, but you can see the changes listed here. They're raising almost all of them. I think there's one that's reduced, and that's it. All right, activities and events. So Cutthroat Cargo, this is the one I was speaking of that people were exploiting. They are now going to change it, and I really, really, really like these changes. I think this is needed. Players can now only opt into the activity during the pre-activity countdown period. So players are unable to opt in after this has started. That's the big deal, because what people would do is they would see that the Cutthroat event was going on, and it stayed active. Everybody could see it. And then they would warp wherever they wanted, not even join the party, so the person who's doing the activity doesn't think anybody's hunting them. And all of a sudden, they join, and they start shooting you. And it's just, I didn't like it. It was cheap. And so, yeah, they're fixing that. So now there's going to be a period before. You can only join during that period. Also, the next big thing is participants cannot fast travel. So you cannot fast travel during any of it. So if you don't join it, you can't. If you don't join it at the beginning, you can still fast travel, obviously, but you can't join the event later on like you could now. So that's a good mix. The target outpost destination can only be viewed by the participants. So that's another big change. Remove the speed debuff from the Cutthroat cargo carrier. I believe that was a 20% debuff if you had the cargo with you, and they're taking that off. So now you're just going to be just normal speed. Helm Wager, they're going to, and again, this is the same thing, removing the debuff for the Helm Wage carrier. They're just removing that speed debuff. And on the Legendary Heist, they're going to increase chances of Legendary Heist opportunities spawning. So that's exciting. Me and Jim have participated in, I think there's only one Legendary Heist that I've seen. Now, I think, Jim, from reading, the reason that is we both only own the Red Isles for our manufactories. So if you own the other Isles, then it will actually spawn Legendary Heist for them, and you can do them.
Yeah. I didn't know that either, but the next the next bullet point on here, the manufactory that is rewarded after a successful legendary heist is no longer restricted to the region where the heist takes place. I didn't realize that actually happened.
Yeah, I didn't either until I read that. So I think that's why we've only seen the one legendary heist. So I'm excited for that. I like the legendary heist. The one that we've done at least was fun. So, all right, next up we're going to talk about La Peste. This is the seasonal enemy. They're going to reduce the damage dealt to him by his minion ships. Now, this has been a sore spot for me and Jim. We've been trying to take La Peste out for the last 2 nights, and we've got so close a couple times and did not. He escaped before we could get him. And we were using this idea of his little minion ships because when they would explode near him, they would do a ton of damage. So we were trying to exploit that because we've only had groups of 3, I think, every time we've tried to take him down. And it's just been super hard because he's a beast. He's level 13. I think he's got the highest ship level in the game that I've seen. And he's just really, really strong. So they're actually going to reduce that damage. So that sucks, in my opinion. Like, it's making it more so it has to be a large group of people. While I understand the purpose of that, I don't like it because we normally play in groups of 2, 3, 4 at the most. And this game only supports groups of 3. So, I mean, you're going to have to combine with people you don't know. Now, again, they're going to add that chat, so maybe it's going to make it easier. We'll see. But I know this weekend, Jim, me and you are definitely going to try to take La Peste out the old school way before they nerf it, right?
Yeah. I want to take him down. I do think the world chat will help.
Yeah, I agree. All right, next up, we're talking about the Helm. These are some awesome changes, in my opinion. Opportunities will continue to be generated for players that have owned all manufactories. I'm curious about this one because what opportunities? And if you own them all, what are you going to do? Recapture them? Is it going to upgrade them? I don't know. I'm curious what this one says or what this one means necessarily. You have any thoughts on that, Jim? What do you think they mean by that?
I think it just means it's going to change the stats, but you don't lose it possibly.
Well,
I'm
you
not
don't.
Sure.
You don't lose them now. Once you capture them, you hold them for the whole season. So I I don't know why they would generate new ones if you like, because I own all red isles. I don't see these anymore. Now, Jim, you get them popped up, and when I'm with you, I'll see them, and I can go in, but I can't capture them or anything.
Oh,
So,
I see that's what they're saying. When they say opportunities, they mean the pop-up flag that comes up.
right, because I don't see that anymore because I have them all. So I don't know what that means exactly. I'm hoping it lets you recapture and maybe levels them up, because that would save me a ton of gold and pieces of 8, you know?
Huh.
But I don't know. And the other change is they're going to increase funding duration and storage space. Both are very much needed. Once you get to level like 6, 7 and up on these, it costs a ton of silver to fund these things. And I think the highest I get on my level 10 is I want to say a 20-hour buff. And it looks like or no, actually this is unchanged, doesn't it? Maybe it's longer than that because the level 9 is 40 hours. So I don't know. I know they're increasing this all, but I don't know how large of an increase it's going to be. And then they're also, it looks like they're increasing capacity on 1 through 9 a little bit. So you're going to have more storage capacity, which is needed because it went like, I think it was 75 to 100 to like maybe 150. And now they're up in a lot bigger increments. Now, Jim, you have just got started with your helm. What do you think about this?
I'm excited about it because it's just less micromanagement. The capacity is the thing I'm most excited about, honestly, is I can just let it keep running and fill up, and then when I do my loop to pick up all my pieces of 8, I don't have to worry. It basically, I get a lot more for the one loop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Because it does get tedious when you're doing the small. You're just doing the trip over and over for a little bit of pieces of 8, and it takes a while to get them built up. So I got a little bit burned out, and like I've told you, I only run a small line that I've leveled up. I don't even go to most of my manufacturers. Like, it's just not worth the time and effort.
I have a huge line of about 10 that I go through to pick up.
We'll see how long you keep doing that. Because I did that for a while, and then it got real boring. So we'll see. All right, next up we have contracts. They're going to add a shipwrecked soul, so it's add a rogue ambushers. Don't know too much about that, to be honest, but more enemies the better, I think. More variety. Next up we have brokered ground. This is going to reduce the number of caches required to be delivered from 3 to 1. So this is just a contract change on that one. Broken ground again added a new step. So they're just changing that contract quest. Next up, Moonsmoke Queen. We just did this last night, Jim. They're going to reduce the damage and health of General Van Knickel's ship. So this was a very tough fight. I re-experienced it again last night with Jim, and it was still pretty hard, even at the higher level ships. So I do think this is a smart move by them to kind of balance out the game a little bit more. What are your thoughts?
Well, I initially didn't like it, but I read their dev note down below, and it's mostly to help solo people. And I took it on solo, and I almost got him and got taken out. He did heal, and you helped me finish that off, so that was nice. But they might be doing this for the solo players.
All right, so next up we have the Tools of Trade. This is going to add a new low-level gather ship that drops Arcadia near St. Anna. So this is interesting because I believe you had this issue too, and I know Will did. You can't find Arcadia at the start because there's only a few spawns and the quests isn't well detailed. And I think everybody's sailed across the Red Isles to the other side, and that was already harvested. So they're going to make that a little bit simpler, which I like.
Okay, yeah, because it did confuse me initially.
Yeah, I think, and me too, and I just had done it before you guys and, muddled my way through it. But I do remember you and Will both kind of running into the same issue too. Inventory and trade. So next up, they're going to change the default open behavior of the silver pouches and chests to the open all, which is amazing because that's a pain in the ass. We've been talking about this. We've been hunting all of Lepes's crew, and every time you kill one, you get a silver chest. So how many did you say you had in your stack, Jim? 38 or 40?
No, I actually have 90.
90. He's got a stack of 90. And opening all these individuals is a pain in the ass. He was, me and you were talking about this. We're going to wait until this patch just to open them all because that's, going to be way more convenient. So that's a well-needed change. I'm excited to see that one. Next up, they're going to adjust the outpost vendors' store inventories to be persistent across different servers and different platforms. I only play in Windows. I don't log out and log back in to get a different inventory. But I can see people exploiting this. They're just going to fix that. Not a big deal there. Added an option for players to cycle inventory while in NPC shops, in outposts, and inns, allowing players to buy and sell items directly from their warehouse. Yes!
Fantastic.
Yes, right, Jim? We were talking about this. So currently how it works, if you do not have the item on your player, you cannot see the sell price. So you have to actually pull it out of your storage to see how much it's going to sell for in that outpost. It's silly. It's just an extra step you got to take. Yeah, this is a great change. It's going to make it much easier to sell goods from outpost to outpost and make the most profit. So I think this is a good move. What are your thoughts?
Oh, absolutely. It's tedious otherwise. I can make a lot of money, but the way I do it is not fun. And this will help that a lot. And what this will also help is, since you can sell right out of your warehouse won't fill up. You'll probably sell way more than you normally would.
All right, next up we have the UI. This is probably one of the most exciting changes for the whole community, because what happens now when you get an invite to a world event or anything else that happens, and they happen quite regularly in the game, it covers your interaction menu if you are inside of a menu talking to a vendor, interacting with your ship, any of that stuff. It's a giant pain in the butt, and this has been well discussed on the Discord and on the forums and everything that I've read. So this is a huge change. So what they're going to do is they're going to delay the activity notifications in several menus, which is going to be with the settlements, NPCs, and stores. Jim, what's your thoughts on this?
Oh, I agree. It's really annoying. It's probably one of the most annoying parts. It drives me crazy. I'm really glad also that they're working on a better solution for down the road. This is just a temporary fix they're doing right now.
Yeah, I'm very, very excited for this one too. Next up, they're going to add signs and feedback when approaching or spyglassing a depleted resource node. I don't really know what this one means exactly. What was your take on this one?
I think it might be kind of what we were talking about earlier on, like when I was first starting it and I was going to get a resource because it was on the map, but it wasn't there, and I was going, it's not here, I can't find it. And I think what it might be doing now is adding something to your spyglass when you're approaching to let you know it's a depleted resource node.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I didn't think about that way. All right, next up, they're going to add settings for hiding the HUD elements, interaction prompts, stamina gauge, hostility indicator, and all the HUDs. So this is okay. I don't normally hide my UI, do you?
No, I don't think I'll do this.
Yeah, I don't. I'm sure some people are gonna use it, but yeah, I'm fine with it. Next up, they're gonna remove the report player button. Again, this is not something I really do. I don't think I've ever reported to anybody, but apparently people were exploiting it to get people banned. So they're gonna remove that and make it take one more step. Now you have to report people from the social menu. All right, next up we have world. So this is a big one too for me. Reduce the wind rotation speed and frequency. Wind now rotates by 15 degrees over 10 seconds at an interval of 180 seconds. So we've all been in this huge fight, in this storm, and the wind's just gone everywhere. It always feels like the wind is in your face, slowing you down, no matter which way you turn, right? Because I don't know if it's just rotating too much. Everybody kind of thinks the game's against them, but I'm glad they're going to kind of even this out. So, once you turn, you have a little bit of time with the wind where it was. It's not just constantly turning with you. So you can kind of strategically plan your moves. What are your thoughts on this one, Jim?
Yeah, I think they're just making it more consistent, staying, a direction like you said. And I've noticed it a little bit, but we'll see what it does. I think it'll be all right.
Next up
this next one's the interesting to me.
This is the first one when I was reading through these that I was like, oh man, really?
Yeah.
Other than La Peste. But increase the damage and firing frequency of the DMC fort towers. We love to raid forts. We love to raid the DMC because they're the higher level forts. And they're going to make them harder for us, Jim. We just took out a level 10 military base earlier, and it was a good fight. Like, we were both being very cautious. We were healing each other. It took some... you can't just coast on that stuff. You got to pay attention to what you're doing. And so this is going to make that harder. We haven't been able to take out any of the higher level military bases. There's ones that go all the way up to level 15, folks. So, when are we going to be ready for that? Are we ever going to be able to do that? I don't like it when a game puts stuff out of my reach because it requires me to have a large group necessarily. And I feel like that's kind of what this is doing.
It might, or maybe we just need to explore the different ships and the different weapons.
Yeah, that could be true. There is a nice variety of higher end ships we haven't touched yet. So, yeah, more to come on that one. Next up, they increased the loot obtained from the Mega Fort, the Olstein. All right, next up is just the updates and bug fixes. So, they're improved graphics for the NVIDIA graphics card, always a good thing. Fixed several issues here, and like I said, I'm not going to read through all these. But there's a ton of fixes here, and I'm really impressed with all of them. I'm just going to scroll through them here for everybody. And I'll be honest, this is a game that I haven't had too many issues with. I've had a few weird glitches where I've had to exit the game and reload, like I won't be able to interact with anybody in an island. All right, final thoughts on this patch, Jim. Let's wrap this up.
I'm excited for it. Just these quality of life fixes mostly, but stability fixes and all that I think are going to be great. I'm really excited to see where they go with this. Absolutely,
I agree with you. I love the first season so far. And this patch is, like you said, a great first step. So I can't wait to see what else is to come. They've already said there's a roadmap. They've already said they're going to bring new bosses in every season, like this La Peste boss. So I'm excited to see that and the interaction with the whole battle pass that they have thing going, because that's been fun doing all those missions together, and like they have a good variety of stuff to do. So it's like, oh right, what are we doing tonight? We got to knock off the list, I like that kind of stuff. All right, next thing we're going to talk about is there's a big event coming. So it actually is starting today, March 18th. It's going to run to the 31st, and it's a really cool event that Ubisoft is running for Skull and Bones, where if you participate in the La Peste event, every time you sink a ship, a skirmisher, you get 1 point, a headhunter gets 5 points, and La Peste himself generates 30 points, and that's going to generate money that they're going to actually donate to the Oceania Fund, which is there to support the restoring and preservation of marine ecosystems. So I think that's really, really cool. Their funding goal is $300,000, so it's not like a small amount. This is a large chunk. And it's anybody who plays the game, even people on a free trial. Anytime you sink a La Peste enemy, you help contribute and improve the ecosystem. I mean, I think that's wonderful. I love when companies extend a hand to help the world as a whole. And there's been a lot of negative around Skull and Bones, and I don't think it hit the numbers that it wanted to hit. And then so for them to go ahead and continue on with this, and be willing to hit their fundraising goals of $300,000, I think that's a pretty cool thing for a company to do. What are your thoughts on that, Jim?
Yeah, I agree. When I first started this game with you, you liked it, but you had a lot more time in it than I did. And I was very lukewarm about the game, but I think where this game hopefully is going to grow and get better is in the helping people get into the game and understanding all the systems that are underneath it, as far as trade routes and the way all this works, how you get sovereigns and how do you get pieces of eight, and I really enjoy the game, but it took me a while to figure all that out. I was confused at first, and I like that they're doing this. Anytime a company does something to include the community in a positive action like this, I think is a good thing.
Absolutely. Perfectly said, Jim, because even myself, early on in the game, I'm like, I don't know how much I feel about this. I don't know how I feel about this game. And then the more I kept going and learning, the more excited I got. And then the fact that you joined me, it makes it so much better. Like, I probably wouldn't be playing solo still, because it just limits what you can do later on in the game without chat. Now that there's chat, it's probably more going to be easier to group up with random people and have fun with them. But yeah, I'm really glad. I'm really enjoying the game. And the other thing I want to say that's not related to this game at all, check out Frontiers of Pandora. That's another Ubisoft game that got a lot of hate and didn't get a lot of press. Me and Jim both played it. There's lots of videos on our YouTube channel. Check them out. Absolutely love that game. That game deserves more love. Check it out too.
Yeah, I agree. It's a really big, beautiful, vibrant world. It's fun to play with someone, and it's really fun to just fly around and look at stuff.
Yeah, it's got the best world I think I've ever played in, to be honest.
Yeah, it's huge.
Graphically looking, yeah. All right, that wraps it up. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for checking out the Skull and Bones 1.3 patch coming out on March the 18th. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button and have yourself a great day.